Hi, thank you guys for joining me again for preparing the hospital room for an unmedicated hospital birth. So you guys had some questions on, trying to get the room ready, and we reviewed, interventions and birthing and coping mechanisms, and so I just wanted to kind of go through and show you how you can prepare your room for like a very relaxing birth. I know that last week I had assigned to do some affirmation cards on your own with your partner. So I gave you guys like a worksheet that had a whole bunch of affirmations, and you could just pick and choose which affirmations you really, I know, lose my word again. Uh, re- resonated with. And so here's some of the ones that I had, and I had them all around my house. But I specifically put them into like sections. So the beginning parts of laboring, the middle part, and then the end where it was more geared on like, I think it's like opening, all the strength I need is within me. So you could see that was like crinkled up. And then like at the end, like I'm excited to meet my baby, like right at the end, when you're like going for the last stretch. And then the beginning ones were like my baby and I are safe. So it's just kind of like gentle ones in the beginning, and then more targeted to like opening up yourself towards the end. So I put these around the house here, or you can put them around your hospital room. But a good thing to remember is that you are mostly gonna, everything's unmedicated, and you're moving around the room. You're probably not going to be like sitting there looking up. You're probably going to be looking down. It's also a mammalian thing to actually like bend over something. So you might notice yourself like, bending, like going like this and just kind of like breathing through. I don't know if you guys saw my photos from my last birth. I did link a couple photos on there, but I spent a lot of time like that, and a lot of people do spend time like that, in which you're looking down at the ground. So having these on the ground, or having your partners like putting them in front of you, or if you're having a birthing pool wherever you're at, to have them on the outside, or even putting them on the inside. That's like a really awesome thing. And then obviously having the affirmations playing. You guys have all the tracks that I have. I just had the affirmations on loop. There's also the ending affirmations, which also talk about like opening up again. And so those are really great. And so if you did the homework assignment, then you have those. If not, then you can do those and have those all around. It was also really important to make them now a little bit early, because I actually put them in my living room. I put them around my house just to always like kind of just get me in the mindset and remind me. With the hypnobirthing too, or hypnobabies, it's all about repetition and trying to get comfortable with the surroundings and having something be the norm, so that when you do see these, are reminded of comfort. You are reminded that you can do it. And you're used to it. And so your body just kind of gets in the zone and is ready. And the affirmations are a great way. And obviously going to bed, doing the rainbow relaxation, those types of things will really help for the day of. Making sure the hospital room when you get in there is dark and quiet. So having either lights dim or off completely. You could talk to them, but usually they're open to that. Having candles, so ask ahead of time. Most likely they're going to say not to have open flame. So I would just go ahead and bring candles, the electric candles. They get the job done. They even have the ones with the remotes at Costco sometimes. Having those around the room. And then the other thing that I absolutely loved were the twinkly lights that you can get. I can put a link here for on Amazon. They have them. They're like a few bucks. They're battery packed at the end. You just throw them away after use, but they were amazing. They're small. You can put them on the bottom of the birthing tub so the light can come through. Put them around the birthing tub, put them around the room. They were really awesome. And then you don't have to worry, like when you leave the hospital room, you just chuck them. It's like super cheap, awesome, gets the job done. Same thing with the candles, those ones you might want to keep, but try to get inexpensive things that you're not going to worry about. Like when you're leaving, you have other things to worry about when you're leaving the hospital room. And trust me, I forgot my phone charger and things, so you'll forget things. And so that's a good thing to bring too. And then obviously making sure it's quiet, so making sure that if you can, I did send you a paper to put on your door, but something saying like that you're birthing quietly. It'll say thank you for being quiet. And so reminding the staff that, or having your partner or a doula remind them that every time they come to the door, they need to be quiet, and just really getting on them about that all the time. I think that it's gonna change the atmosphere completely. And you're gonna be having what you want to have is like a home birth experience in a birthing center or in a hospital room. So all the things to make you comfortable. That's one of the big things. You don't want like a whole bunch of beeping. You don't want the fluorescent lights. You want people coming in and out of your room. You do have the opportunity to tell them, if it's a teaching hospital, you can tell them that you don't want anybody in the room. You could tell them that you're only comfortable with one person in the room. You could tell them to be quiet. You could do all those things. It's not something that, it's your birth. So you need to create the environment that you want, and that's going to get the baby out safely. The other thing that I would recommend is to do right when you get through the door. I know this photo of the birthing rose, but this one, if you can put this over the clock right when you get in, you don't need to be looking at a clock. You're here, you're at the home stretch. You don't need to be worrying about what time it is and how long it's going to take you to get anywhere. The more that you worry, the more adrenaline, the more your body's going to tense up, the more your muscles are going to tense up, the more discomfort will happen. So take your mind off the clock, put this over the clock, remind yourself where you're at, what you're doing, what's going to be coming out soon, and gets to be in your arms. And again, this is the perineum, like just making sure that everything's opening up, just reminding you of visualization of what's going to be happening and the beauty that's going to be happening. And instead of it being what you hear all the time is the ring of fire, and the more that you visualize this as the perineum opening like a blossom, like a rose, and not something tearing and pain and all of the things that we associate birthing with. But this is a reminder, a visual imagery that you can have in your mind when you're getting on the last stretch, both figuratively and literally, I guess. But this is an awesome thing to have in the room. And even if you want multiple, I actually had this one, and then I had a smaller version in my room, and that helped me a lot with just knowing what was going on and reminding myself. And then making sure that whoever's in the birthing room is who you want to be in the birthing room. It's not a time to be feeling bad for people. Unfortunately, some people won't be able to be in there that want to be in there, but you need to do what's best for your family and your baby and getting your baby out. And so keeping those boundaries, making sure that you have those boundaries and people respecting those boundaries. And even if they don't, they'll come around to it at some point or another. But you are in this, you're the only person to get the baby out. And so you've done all the homework, you've done all the prep work to get to this point. So really, really making sure that you have your little bubble, and, you don't need them to go to the bathroom. You don't want them there when you're going to the bathroom. You don't need them there when you're birthing. And you don't sometimes want them there when you're birthing. They can come after, they could support after. But in this specific time, it's you and your birth partner. Maybe it's just you, maybe it's you and the doula, but you need to be supported, and you need to let your body do what it needs to do. And remember that actually having people in the room is a form of intervention. So every person that comes in the room could be something else that you're dealing with. And so you need to make sure that could cause you to tense up, that could cause your body to go into fight or flight mode. So keeping that safe space is really important.